Well, here we go, folks. The anticipated release of the Exodus Rival has come and passed. We are shipping cameras to customers. And in this video, we're gonna break down everything you need to know, top to bottom, about your Exodus Rival cellular trail camera. So to get started right out of the box, a lot of people are buying these things or attracted to the Exodus brand because of the warranty. So one of the things that we've kind of changed up, that we are no longer putting warranty cards in the box. We've gone to just a quick little QR code sticker on the outside of your camera. You can simply use your phone, scan that QR code. It's going to take you to a landing page where you need to register your product. This is vital because every product needs to be registered within 30 days to have valid, active warranty policies. Once you scan that QR code and you go to the landing page, there are some pertinent information that you'll need to know. One, obviously your personal contact information, and then two, inside the camera housing, kind of on this back section, there's going to be a serial number. That serial number needs to be entered in that landing page to activate your warranty policies. Guys, this is a way for us to track product failures, track potentially stolen cameras, and just keep tabs on everything that we have going on with longevity of products. So it's vitally important that you guys go do this. And that is step one in getting your Exodus Rival up and running. Step number two, we have to get these cameras onboarded to Scoutek. We have to get these things activated. To activate your Exodus Rival camera, there is a QR code inside the housing with a couple quick short steps. You just need to open your Scoutek app up, select register camera. You're going to scan that QR code. You're going to name that camera if you want it to be named, and then you're going to go through the checkout process inside of Scoutek, and that consists of selecting activate on your registered camera, selecting your data plan, and then going through the required prompts to go through that checkout process. Once your checkout process is complete, you should receive some type of status completion on your app, and also an email to your email account verifying you've completed the checkout process and this camera is activated, ready to go. So before you start using your camera, we got to touch on power supply. Just like every other Exodus camera we've ever built, lithium AA batteries are the recommended internal power source. This is a 12-volt camera, so the operating range voltage is 9 to 12 volts. 8 AA lithium batteries will get you there. This Exodus Rival also is compatible with 12-volt external power sources. You could see the modified DC jack relocated in this housing versus our other designs, which makes it very easy to leave that external power source plugged in at all times and still have access to the inside of your camera. The DC jack size is 5.4 by 2.1 millimeter. So for anyone wondering, all of our previous external power source products like the SP18 are compatible with the Exodus Rival, and any future external power source product that we do release will also be compatible with all of our products. So the long and short of it is, this camera requires 12 volts, no more than 1 amp. So if you're building your own power source, be sure that you put that inline fuse to have some overcurrent protection there, 1 amp. On to SD card requirements of the Exodus Rival. This camera is capable of using up to 128 gigabyte SD card. My personal recommendation and opinion on this is that capacity is not needed in cell cameras. We've ran these all fall with 32 gigabyte card, writing speeds no faster than 80 megabytes per second, and those are available on our website. The thing with cell cameras is you can manage this stuff remotely, so there's no need to go out and spend extra money on an SD card that has that type of capacity when it's not needed. If you ever get to a point where that capacity on that 32 gig card or 16 gig card or 8 gigabyte card is reaching its full capacity, you can simply manage that by formatting it over the air through your app. So we're recommending a 32 gigabyte card with writing speeds no faster than 80 megabytes per second, and a typical class 10 card can get you there. One of the big differences in the Exodus Rival camera versus the Exodus Render is the lack of onboard controls. And right off the rip, you'll notice that there is simply just an on-off switch on this camera with several LED indicators or icons. So there's no LCD screen to go in and physically program that camera. And overall, it's important that you are paying attention to these LED indicators, because those indicators, depending on what they're doing, are going to tell you what your camera is doing. And there's no need to memorize all this, but just remember, green is good, red is bad. So you'll notice right off the rip, the Exodus Rival has 3 main switch positions: online, off, and offline. If you had desire to run this camera in an SD card mode only, you would use the offline position. Outside of that, every other typical use case, you're gonna wanna have this camera in the online position where it is able to connect to your cellular network. As we move into the LED indicators and the camera status display system, you're going to notice a few different LED indicators. You're gonna have one for your battery. If you get a green status on that light, you are greater than 66% battery. If you have a yellow status, those batteries are somewhere between 33 and 66%. And if you have a solid red, those batteries are basically dead. You're under 33% capacity or voltage on those. If you get a red blinking light on that battery icon, that means the batteries are toast and they do need to be replaced at that time. Moving on to the signal icon, a green status light is going to give you 4 to 5 bars of service. Yellow is 2 to 3 bars and red is 0 to 1. The Rival must have a minimum of 2 bars of signal for it to function properly. Like any cellular device, overall function and performance will be dictated by the available signal. The third LED indicator is the connectivity level icon. A blinking green status is going to signify the camera attempting to connect. Solid green is going to mean a successful connection and the camera is properly registered. A yellow status is going to give you successful connection but improperly registered, and the red status is going to give you no connection. So that could be a SIM card error or no SIM card, no signal, inactive device, etc. Moving on to the front of the camera, where we have a single front LED, and this is the overall system status icon. At any point in time, if that LED is solid red, it's signifying you do not have an SD card in that device. If you get a blinking red LED, that is signifying the firmware in that device is updating. If you have a solid green LED status, that's signifying the PIR detection area, and this is active for only 60 seconds when the camera is first powered on. A blinking green on that status means the camera is armed, it's set to be active, and it's ready to go. So setting your Exodus Rival camera up, obviously with no onboard controls, you are limited on what you can do with that camera in your hand, but that is by design. So once your camera is set up, it's registered within Scoutek, it is activated, camera is in the online position, you can then move to your mobile app for that specific camera and go ahead and change any settings or functions that you wish to run that camera in. There's a couple different ways that these commands or setting changes get processed. If you have the on-demand feature turned on, any OTA command, setting change, firmware update, any call to action will be processed immediately. And we say immediately within just a few seconds. If you have the on-demand feature turned off, those setting changes or OTA calls are not going to be processed until the camera's next connection point. One thing with the on-demand feature that we have to note is when this is checkmarked and this feature is turned on, it is leaving that cellular module live and active 24/7. With it live and active 24/7, it is going to use more battery life. So if you have, a decrease in battery life with that function turned on, that is relatively normal. If you're in a position where you are not running external power with that particular device, we do not recommend using the on-demand feature with just the internal batteries of the camera. On the housing body of your Exodus Rival, there is a few offline controls to perform a couple different functions. One of them is resetting the default values in that camera back to the factory settings. To do this, you're gonna wanna power your camera to the offline mode. You're gonna rapidly press the reset button 3 times. On the third engagement, you wanna hold that button in and continue to hold in the reset button until all 3 LED icons blink red 5 times. On the 5th blink, this is signifying that the camera has been reset to the factory settings. You can also format your SD cards inside the Exodus Rival. To do this, you're gonna wanna insert a compatible SD card and again, power the camera to the offline mode. Hold the reset button in for 12 seconds. When the format function is complete, each of the LED icons will blink red 3 times. The camera will reboot afterwards. So that's everything you need to know about your Exodus Rival. This will get you going. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below, reach out via email or phone call to our customer service line. We're happy to help answer any questions that you might have, and pay attention for more content to come around the Exodus Rival.